Well, hello again. Welcome back to another edition of the Other Side Sports Podcast. My name is J-Raz. I'm here to talk about a few things. Just let you know I've been gone for quite some time. So this is my first video and a little bit of, a little time has passed. I've social media sabbatical, get my mental health right. So now I'm back and ready to talk about some things. Got to get some things off my chest. So here we go. So new format. Got 3 strikes that we're going to talk about. 3 topics. Then I'm out of here, right? Keep this short, easy, and since it's just me, I can have some jump cuts. All right, so what we'll talk about today is Braves, World Series champs. Fascinating. Super happy about it. Number 2, we're going to talk about why the College Football Playoff Committee hates Cincinnati. I'm just kidding. But, the group of 5 teams, generally. And then 3, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, so let's jump right into it. Strike 1, we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Everyone, has an opinion nowadays. People want to jump down people's throats online all the time. A bunch of stalkers, a bunch of angry people. So, the world's trying to adjust and get better and heal and stuff. As collectively, our mental health as a unit is not very strong. But this has led to a lot of people to be very outspoken, jumping down people's throats, writing people off. And let me just talk about one thing about Aaron Rodgers. Because let's just get this out of the way. I'm very much pro-vaccine. If you're over 50, you should probably get it. If you have underlying health conditions, it's probably in your best interest to get it. And then also, if you just feel like it will make your life better, you'll feel happier, you'll feel better as far as how your safety goes, and you won't have to worry, just get it. That being said, Aaron Rodgers is case study number 1 why professional athletes should not be forced to be vaccinated. Now, granted, the NFL doesn't have a mandatory vaccine protocol. The NBA doesn't have one. They want you to be, and they strongly encourage it. But people got upset because they said, Aaron Rodgers was, he lied, he misled. And so if your feelings are hurt about being lied to by a professional athlete, this probably won't be the first time that a professional athlete has ever lied to you or lied to anybody. Chances are most people upset about it don't even watch press conferences. So the point being, what Aaron Rodgers actually said was he was immunized. So if he's immunized, he showed that he was taking all these supplements. He was taking some medicine. Everyone wants to jump down the one thing where he said he talked about all this with Joe Rogan, consulting with him. And, can't really defend that. But the truth is that when you break it all down, he didn't get hospitalized. He didn't die. And within 2 weeks, he was back on the field leading his team to victory on a Sunday. So it just goes to show that maybe a lot of professional athletes probably don't need these vaccines, and he felt like he was safe. He felt like he was going to be fine by it. And he made his own decision, and he's fine. He's back playing. So technically, when he said he was immunized, he actually wasn't lying, because turns out he's fine. So that's the point I think everyone's missing about this whole thing, is that he is fine. Like that everyone wants to think, if you don't get vaccinated, then you're endangering yourself and everyone else. Well, clearly he wasn't endangering himself. And in regards to the people who are around him, they have every chance to get vaccinated. Every chance. It's free. It's widely available across the United States. So we really shouldn't be looking to professional athletes to be the spokespeople for the health industry, the pharmaceutical industry. They're in really great health. They're in top-notch shape. They're professional athletes. And so, therefore, we probably shouldn't really care so much about their vaccination statuses. Strike 2. Why in the world does the College Football Playoff Committee just generally dislike the group of 5 teams? I cannot figure this out, except other than their fan bases aren't as big. They don't come from a big conference, so you're not going to get the conference draw. But generally, whenever it comes to the group of 5 teams, they always do the same thing. They keep them high up in the rankings. They talk about their strength of schedule being lackluster. And then they usually always have some hypothetical game that's being played in their head. For instance, if Alabama were to run the table but then lose to Georgia, in the championship game, they lose by a field goal or something, and you will hear this very common phrase that gets uttered a lot. We think they're just a better team, and they would put in Alabama over Cincinnati. And whenever they say that, whenever they think, we just think this team is better than X team, what they're doing is, in their head, they're ranking the recruiting class and the depth chart, and they're ranking those against each other. And then they're playing this hypothetical game in their head where they go, we're just going to put them on the field in our head, and then we think Alabama's going to win. So then we think Alabama's better. You saw this a lot back in 2011, which started this whole thing to begin with when we saw LSU play Alabama. And they kept saying there's the two best teams in the country. There's two best teams in the country. We think Alabama would beat Oklahoma State on a neutral site. We'll think they'll beat them multiple times out of 10, and so therefore we want the best two teams. And so this dialogue got started from then on out. Best two teams. Well, best two teams is subjective to a lot of people, but it also takes away the whole element of actually having to play a football game. Now, granted, you don't play the same team 10 times in a season. In fact, the most you can play somebody is 3 times. If you happen to play them in the regular season, you play them in the conference championship, and then somehow they manage to play in the playoff against each other. That's the top amount of times. So one of those times losing is 33%. The issue being, whenever they say these things like that, along the lines of, they'll beat them 9 times out of 10. They'll beat them 7 times out of 10. Or they're just better. We think they're better all around from top to bottom. Basically what they're doing is they play a hypothetical game in their head where the two teams play. They automatically assume someone's going to win. Granted, anybody can have a bad day. It's any given Saturday, any given Sunday in the NFL. But, we see it all the time. So whenever the group of 5 gets into this conversation all the time, they always say the same things to try to keep them out. And where Cincinnati is in a super hard, difficult position right now is that they don't have any good wins coming up. And the committee always looks at the wins per week down the stretch. And what they're going to come across is Oregon set up for a Pac-12 championship. Maybe a ranked team will play. Pac-12's kind of down. You got Ohio State still has to play Michigan State and Michigan. They could lose, but if they, who knows? But any group of those teams wins out and then wins the Big Ten, and in some situation where they actually only have a one-loss Big Ten championship team, you would think automatically into the playoff. And so you got Georgia and Alabama. If Georgia wins out, they play Alabama. And that's the caveat. Georgia has to beat Alabama, so then Alabama will have 2 losses. So Cincinnati's just sitting there on the outside looking in, because then also, if Alabama were to somehow beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, what they're going to say is, Georgia was the best team in the country all year. They lost to Alabama, who only has 1 loss, and it was in the SEC championship game. So you're going to see Georgia fall to 4. And it would be completely disrespectful to just drop Georgia straight out of it completely, just because their defense is so good. Their team is a very good team. No one's arguing that they're the best team in the country currently. Hard to argue that. But what you see is Cincinnati, the only thing that they can actually do is just sit there and win out. They need to go 13-0. If you go 13-0, you put your team in a really good position, and you really can't put yourself in a better situation than that. Then they can be in a situation where it's like UCF. They go to a BCS bowl, one of the BCS bowls. No, the BCS doesn't exist anymore. But and then they could win against a ranked team and then just claim a co-champion like UCF did. But that, to me, is just so dissatisfying, because so many years we've wanted the Boise States. People have wanted the Boise States, the UCFs. And generally for Boise State, a lot of times they would just lose a bad game, and you're like, man, you just got to go undefeated. So Cincinnati, the only thing they can actually do is just win out their schedule, go 13-0, and see what happens. Ultimately, it's up to the committee, but they're sitting on the outside looking in, and the committee is probably going to do all the semantic word language exercises that they can to keep them out of it. But I think if you go 13-0, maybe someone slips up ahead of you. The best case scenario for them is for Alabama to lose to Georgia, and then they have no reason why they can't slide up to 4. But it just stinks because, you take care of your schedule. You're one of the best teams in the country all year. And then ultimately you don't lose a game and you have to have people lose in front of you. And it's just sad. And it's sad because we've seen this happen before. We've seen it happen before multiple times. And they never really give them a chance. But the one thing Cincinnati might have going for them that the other teams did not is that they have actually played in big-time bowl games and have upset some teams, just like, winning the Orange Bowl however long ago. I know the team's definitely not the same as it was then, but at least it's a program that has a history of winning some of these games so that they could use that to their advantage. But I don't know. It kind of stinks, but ultimately they got to win out, and so there's still some games left to be played, and Oregon's got to win out, and Ohio State's got to win out. Alabama needs to win out, So Georgia, I think, can afford to lose the SEC championship game and get in, but everyone else has to win out. So it's still, you have 4 teams that have to win out in order for them to make their best case scenario to make the playoffs. So, hey, what do you know? Anything can happen. So I'll be rooting for you, Cincinnati. I'm rooting for you. Hope you do it. I really do. I love the underdog story. Bringing us to our third strike of the day, which is the Braves. All right, kind of weren't an underdog. We were in the NLCS last year, but hey, we did not have the best record. We came in. We had to play the Dodgers. We had to go through them to get there. Very important. Very important to redeem ourselves from last year and to make it to the World Series for the first time. And what seems like an eternity as an Atlanta fan. But, at least Atlanta United kind of gave us a taste of it in 2018. But now, as an Atlanta fan, we're redeemed. We have redeemed ourselves as fans as far as our teams go in a city, because everyone knows what happened to the Falcons. There's still a group of people out there that look down upon the MLS. And so to win a major championship is one of the greatest things ever. And I have this little guy right here that I just am so proud of. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Go Braves. Man, I love it. Man, our teams are great. And let me just say, full on. Brian Snicker, I apologize for anything negative I've ever said. Granted, I still don't like the way Snicker uses the bullpen, because I would gonna be very interested to see how our bullpen plays next year. But I mean, goodness, pretty much any manager could kind of go out there and win a bunch of games. But when it comes down to it, his strategy, even though it's controversial throughout the playoffs, sometimes with the pitching changes and who's gonna play where with the shifts and everything, it worked. So, very good. I'm super happy about it. Can't complain. Super happy to the fact that where the Falcons and all the other teams could, it doesn't really matter at this point, because this year has been fulfilled and it's satisfying. And I am very happy. I'm very happy to be a champion. This is great. I know I'm not technically a champion, but it dang sure feels like it. So, with that in mind, I'll leave you with this. If you feel like you are triggered in any way by anything that I've said, just leave a note in the comments. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. It's just me, so there's no back and forth, but I would like to have a back and forth. So, if you want to talk about something, you want me to speak about something on the next episode, I'm trying to keep these things short, sweet, 3 topics, gonna be fast, so quick hitters, and ultimately, trying to do this, get back, and just want to get some things off my chest, things I've been thinking about, things I've been talking about with my friends and offline. So I might as well come and share it with you guys. So once again, my name is Robert J-Raz. Hope that you have a great day. Try to stay positive, and try not to let anything really get to you online too much, because it helps to unplug every now and then to reset the mind. And mental health is very important. So take care of yourself. Until next time, adios. Hey, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of The Other Side Sports. My name is Robert J-Raz Jr.